Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to ESA Cup Season 9. Today is one of those big days where things are getting more and more close as we're now approaching with the one and only the semifinals of the lower brackets. The match where we decide whoever goes to the lower bracket final to play against semifinal. Wow, this is going very well. To go against Silent Family, and whoever wins that match then will go against Molotov Gang in the grand final. So a very big match today, as you can actually see right now here on your screen right now. LDL versus MG with. That's the match that we're going to be doing today. My name is Wilson Max, and tonight I am accompanied by Delta Bacon.
Guten Tag, as I believe they say. I don't actually know what time that is. I might have just butchered the beautiful German language, but there we go.
Well.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go with the lower bracket final. Going on through, of course, as you say, to the lower bracket promotion final, where they go against Silent Family. The winner of that will go on to see MVG on December 22nd in the grand final. MVG, of course, booking their place in the final a couple of days ago. And what a matchup! What a matchup we've got coming up for you today. You know, it's two teams which have faced each other before. They pushed each other right the distance. 2 OTs in that game way back in October. That was 2-1 to LDL, eventually closing things out over on Nighthaven. Let's not waste any time. Let's get your thoughts. Who wins today? Because everything's on the line, Bose.
Of course, everything is on the line. This is the lower bracket, so there's no room for a single bit of error. You need to perform today. Because if you don't, if your opponent ends up to be the stronger one, you will end up being eliminated, and ESA Season 9 will end for you. So this is the match where it matters all. You need to win today so you can move on to the lower bracket final to be matched up against Silent Family. And well, let's take a little look here at the head-to-head standings. So we have a bit of an idea what OPL has in store for us in terms of statistics to see which team is better, or at least which maps are better at. We can see that LDL has a 77 win rate here on the OPL platform in general, which is a pretty insane win rate if you ask me. But at the same time, MG with a 62%, that's pretty good as well. For maps, well, we actually see a bit of a conflict here. We see Bank being the best map for LDL, while Bank is the worst map for Team WiT, while Border is the best for theirs, and Lair being the worst for Team LDL. And talking about these maps, let's quickly head over to the map bands as well, so we can actually see which maps we're not going to be seeing and which maps we are going to be seeing today. Just to get an idea of where we're going, we can see indeed Lair being banned as it was one of those worst maps for some of the teams. But we will see Bank, Border, so Bank picked by Team LDL here as the first map of today, then Border team picked by MG WiT as the second map of today. And if it happens that either of these two teams win at least one of these two maps, then we will go to the decider, which is going to be Consulate here in this case, which is one of those classic decider maps. And well, that's what we're going to be seeing today. And as I believe it's right time right now, indeed, to hop into this very first map of today very quickly, very smoothly, we're going to Bank, which is like I said, the first map here of today, picked by Team LDL. Let's see where we're going.
Yeah, it's really interesting that they allowed Bank to really creep into the lineup today, because as you pointed out there with the predictions and with all the statistics, Bank's really not a strong one for MG, and we know just how incredibly LDL can perform on it. Band's going to come through, and I think Blackbeard, that's no big surprise. Blackbeard, ever since that change, has kind of fitted into the shield meta, which, whilst it's on its way out, is still extraordinarily powerful, and we've seen a couple of rounds get clutched out in that, very notably from MVG when they booked their place in the grand final in OT. So that's a big ban to come straight off the board. But Lion, that's an interesting one, isn't it, Buzz? Yeah. They're going to look to take away that intel game.
Like a lion ban. That's one I haven't seen for ages. To be fair, I'm pulling up the statistics right now here for ESA Cup. A lion ban is one of those rare ones. Like, there was, of course, a time that lion used to be kind of overpowered, but in general, lion ban. No, this is the very first time that we ever seeing a lion ban here on ESA Cup. Yes, of course, Lion has found, like, when he was released, he was overpowered, and of course, people used to ban it. That's way before the times of ESA. But Lion now, like, yes, he has really found his functionality, really pinpoint some of those roamers to really disrupt some of the roamer play or the end game of the defenders where they really struggle to move around. That's where really Lion comes to its, really becomes valuable. But this is the very first time that we're seeing a team actually ban Lion. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, banning Lion, but then not removing anything else kind of intel orientated. Bit of an interesting decision there, because it doesn't really convey how they're going to approach the game. Maybe it's just a spot ban, maybe MG quite like playing Lion, but it doesn't spring to mind as one that's a ban that's aligned with any particular strategy. Cade, that's a fairly obvious ban. That's breach denial. That's almost an ever present in most ban lineups, and Mira being taken off the board as well. Which I would say, for Bang, especially for this top floor, especially for that bottom floor, you're seeing some incredible setups being built up with the Myra. So I don't think that's too absurd of a ban. Round one though, we will be going to the top floor. It's the quintessential, the mainstay defensive site to start off on. Both of these teams opting to defend first on their map choices, of course, and choosing to attack first on overtime. So both of these teams confident in their attack. Both of these teams maybe looking to chase the game after a successful attacking half. But of course, every map that we've seen today so far has been one that is, well, I was going to make a convoluted point about defensive sides being the one to go for, but there we go to see the first pick of the game going to MG WiT on an attack. Nice little rush into open square.
Great start for MG WiT, of course, as they start the round with a man advantage, but as Midoriya gets a very first kill there first kill for his team onto Bankas. It's being equalized here. Ash as well losing quite a bit of HP. Lunar with a kill there onto Ishan. Right now we're finding ourselves in a 4 versus 3 within the very first 50 seconds. A very quick amount of kills here very early on. Ishan with another kill there onto Midoriya brings things back to an equal man count of a 3 versus 3. The Brava, the Ash, the Doc, and the Mute all gone to the grave right now. And there's only 3 different players left standing on each of the 2 teams. Attackers currently just finding a way in. We can see here one of the players, Valkyrie, being in the main lobby, trying to find any player on the rappel. That's Ilias finding a kill onto Vessi. Once again, another attacker losing their life. And right now, the attackers of the defenders find themselves in a nice little advantage here. A 3 versus 2, with still half of the rounds remaining.
Yeah, the road was collapsing in to really mitigate that early advantage that MG WiT obtained, and now it's turned into a little bit of an attrition. MG WiT, they still have time on the board to make those rotations, to adapt their attacking strategy, but most importantly for Ishan, to actually get inside the building.
Yeah, getting into the building is the big challenge here for the attackers. Both of them finding themselves outside here. The first floors finding his way in, but immediately getting found by Lunar as he didn't know about his position. Changing them, finding a kill onto Zakuria in 1 versus 2 in the favor of the defense, or 2 versus 1. Are just seeing on your screen right now. Shinji just waiting for any defender to make a move here, to just make a little mistake, to expose themselves a little bit too much. Frost almost doing that, hoping, or doing the thing that the Twitch is hoping for in this situation. But this is a very difficult situation for the Twitch. Makes herself into the bomb site, sees one of the defenders, but unfortunately doesn't secure the kill. And in the end, it's Ilya securing the very first round here for the side of LDL, putting them on a little 1-0 advantage. A nice way for LDL to start the round here. As well, this is what they're, of course, you like to have the positive start, and this is a good thing for them.
Yeah, the intel game really strong there for LDL in terms of denying MG WiT all these opportunities to learn things. They had really good drone economy throughout the round. They took out about 70% of MG WiT's drones. The ban out on the Lion, having a Lion for that jump in from Isan, where he got popped and made it a 1v3. That, having a Lion would have kind of mitigated the lack of intel, which made his jump in not go so well, which made it the end of the last thing he did. And I think that was very well managed from LDL. Despite that early pick, the Romas collapsed in really, really nicely. They had the intel advantage, they knew where the attackers were, and there wasn't a rotation from MG WiT to respond to that. So very powerful round from LDL. They're now going to take us to the bottom floor, where it's an altogether different kettle of fish. It really, really is. There's so many different ways you can approach this. You can hold bot blue stairs, you can pull back really, really deep, and you can dig in like a tick really into that bottom site. It's really interesting to see how they'll approach this.
Yeah, of course, it's a very different bomb site. It means both different things for both the defense and the attack, of course. Like, both of them have different strategies, both the offense and the defense. Because we will see a very different kind of play happening here. I don't know what's happening here with the diffuser. That's a very weird thing that the player is trying to do, dropping a diffuser in a very specific position. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. They probably have their reason to do so. But for now, at least we can see that the attackers, well, they are trying to make their way to the bombs, the building at least, trying to find a way in. With the defenders being stretched out quite a bit, they are just waiting for those defenders to just make a way in, to make their mistake, to expose themselves, so the defenders can patiently wait and
Hmm.
pick off one kill by another.
Yeah, this top floor roam, Ilias doing really, really well there. To actually just slow down MG Wit. They've not really aggressed into the building at all much yet. You know, they're using up drones and switch drones and things like that to try and waste Valk's utility. And they're scarcely in the building. This is a chance going to come out into elevator, but Valk going to dip inside, going to avoid those volleys of bullets coming their way. And yet more time being wasted by LDL. Really strong performance this in terms of playing the clock.
Yeah, we're just still over half of the round remaining. We're still in a 5% fight situation. Yes, the Valkyrie has gotten a little bit of damage there, but that's not too much to worry about. It's still a very close fight here between these two teams. Attackers are still like working their way towards the building, towards the bomb site, or at least towards the ground floor, at least to at least get rid of those defenders who are playing there at the moment, to get some proper chance to put some pressure on onto the bomb site itself. But as Ishan gets the very first kill there onto Zakaria, it's the striker, or actually not the striker, it's the sentry who's losing his life right there. A 4 versus 5 just before we reach the very last minutes. A good start here for the attacking side, that they now have a man advantage, but they could definitely use, because they really need that time to put pressure onto the bomb side of their opponent. But as Ishana gets a second kill there onto Lunar as well, the attacker's doing better and better.
Interesting there. I thought Luna had actually seen them taking cover behind the pillar. So interesting that Son actually managed to pop outside and actually pick them off there. Starting to collapse in on this bomb site now. They're starting to challenge, but they've not got a lot of time left. LDL's Roamers, they've done their job and they've denied MG with the pleasure of having a lot of time to execute. 30 seconds left, bomb in hand. What you gonna do, boys?
Well, what you're gonna do, you're gonna put your maximum effort. Attackers have a very good position here to put some proper pressure here onto the defenders, of course. They gotta be very smart about what they're doing. Each defender getting one kill, each will easily give them the man advantage, but as the attackers are getting one kill after another, but defenders as well, we're now finding ourselves in a 1 versus 4, Twitch going for the plants, and everything is coming down for this Legion, played by Harvey. He needs to do it for the team. The fuser goes down. He now has 42 seconds to find 4 different defenders and find the diffuser as well. But as Bankas then finds this last Legion player, Harvey, he gets the kill and secures yet another round here for the attacking side of LDL. Oh, sorry, the MG WiT, excuse me, and puts the score onto 1-1.
Almost.
Almost. Almost fucking up there, but recovering just in the right moment.
Do you know that's a really good round from MG Wit? That maybe
It
you know, given
was.
given their previous history, given their previous history on Bank, you maybe wouldn't have expected to come out from them. But you know, a couple of really good performances that maybe I wouldn't have expected. I did originally, I'll admit it very happily. I did originally question the intent on bringing Amaru to a basement site. I question, maybe why you would do that, but Islam with a 3k doing very, very well, and to win that in a post-plant scenario, to win the round so dominantly, not only that you won it 2 frags, but also that you fully took control of site before doing so.
Mhm.
It shows that MG WiT, they didn't just hit heads, they didn't just outfrag their opponents, they actually managed to take control and beat them strategically as well. A couple of players disconnecting there, so we're gonna see a little rehost coming through in just a moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that just gives us time to have a little chat, doesn't it, about how good those first 2 rounds have been. We're not gonna see, I think, maybe a map that is indicative of the difference in how these two teams play, the difference in how these two teams play Bank. With one of the teams being at their worst and one of the teams being their best. LDL, they've shown that they can control a defensive round, but then MG WiT, they've come right back at Ilsan with a 3 kill again, like I said. And they can dominate themselves. They can do really well. So I think this game's going to be a lot closer than maybe people would appreciate. So I
Yeah.
mean, when you come down to it, these two teams last time they played each other, they went to overtime twice. It's gonna be close.
Yeah, I'm just checking. Like, there has been a lot of history between these two teams. They have played each other quite a bit of times. Also, in the chat, we are pointing out by Musa, which is in fact also the team owner or the org owner of the MG side, Mr. Gaming, which WiT falls under. We can actually see that these two teams have actually played on the map of Bang before as well, which was just over a month ago, or under a month ago actually, and it was actually MG with winning with a 7-4 score. So for so far, starting off with this score is definitely pointing that we can really go in either direction. Like we both these two teams, we have seen them doing incredibly well in the previous round of the lower brackets, which was the quarterfinals, where it was LDL playing against Entropy, with playing against Team Asgard. Two teams like both Asgard and MG with, oh, sorry, MG with and LDL did extremely well in that section of the brackets, and it really just really brings us down to this moment of the lower brackets semifinals, where these two teams really need to prove against each other. LDL generally having a bit of a bigger records, like they have a bit of a bigger history. They have been along for a long time. They have generally done always pretty well, usually getting pretty close to it, like at least a top 4 position. Where MG Wit is a bit of a newer team as well, but in general, I really think that these two teams could actually really bring a proper challenge to each other.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's not going to be an easy matchup for either team. LDL, they placed first in Swiss. When you take into account round difference,
Of
MG WiT,
course,
they
yeah.
placed third. So it's not going to be an easy round for either team. And the last time these two teams played, it's actually an interesting statistic to bring up to your attention, is that
Yeah.
the last time LDL picked border and chose to attack first, MG WiT chose consulate and chose to attack first, and both teams took the other team's choice off each other. So MG, where this may well be their worst map statistically, and maybe we've let that color our expectations. But the last time they played LDL, they took their map off them. So that's you can't write them out. I think a lot of people have maybe suggested that it's going to be a bit of a quicker match than we would like. We want it to go all
Hmm.
the way to the end, really, don't we? But it's I can't emphasize this enough. You know, with the state of the competition where it is, with the round of the competition where we are,
Hmm.
you know that both teams are going to put everything into it because you can't do anything else. You've got to.
Yeah, and of course, one thing that can also help us with our expectations is one of those visuals we didn't really have the time to go over earlier, which were the predictions that we actually, didn't really check on what we can really expect of these two teams. I mean, I just hear from the production team. Well, not every single player or actual person of the production team did have a chance, of course, to go for a vote here as well. Both these two opponents were only known yesterday, of course, as LDL played yesterday. But we can here see an 80% for the side of LDL, mostly also the production side voting for LDL. Pufa Bob being one of those only ones voting for MG Wiz. And well, that totally makes sense. Like if you go back in history, like once the season even started, a lot of people were voting for LDL. Like a lot of people were rooting with them, considering them being one of the best teams in the console scene. Well, if you ask me, yes, I agree. Definitely back then with them, but at the same time, things have changed as well. Like my expectations have changed. LDL, in my opinion, has been doing extremely well during the season, but they haven't done as well as I expected them to do after seeing them in the qualifiers. Like, I'm not entirely sure what has changed for them. Maybe it's also just mostly other teams just catching up with them. I think that's mostly the reason why. But teams like MVG, MG Wit, Entropy, Asgard, especially surprisingly getting eliminated yesterday, but Asgard was one of those teams I was really rooting for. Those are just teams that I really expected, or Asgard got eliminated 2 days ago. But yeah, those were really teams that I really think that are really deserve a spot here in this top 6 of this competition. And well, at the cost of LDL, of course. LDL still being a great team, but the competition is really getting close to them. And I really think this match wouldn't be as one-sided as I once thought. And I really think that MG Wit is a team capable of putting up a real fight here.
Yeah, in Swiss, until you get to the end, it's not Knockout Siege, so the stakes are
Yeah.
slightly different. Here in Knockout Siege, where, it's either you win or you go home, the mentality changes completely. It's flipped on its head. MG Wit, as I'm sure some people are aware, they're going through a little bit of off the field, kind of stuff to coin a phrase and turn it into football. A little bit of off the field drama. This may well be last chance saloon for these players to play together competitively. And I think they're going to, that could do one of two things. It could galvanize them, or it could affect their mental. But so far, we're seeing it's galvanizing them as we see a Nook slowly approaching here to try and pick up a kill from
Ooh.
AG Whip, but they're
Oh.
going to get traded back out. And Madara, wise to what's happening, and not going to let any sneaky happenings on their watch.
Yeah, it's just crazy how Doc can easily recover so easily after a gunfight that he did manage to win, but he did suffer some HP damage, which is so easy for him to just recover from that. It just takes a simple stim, which only takes like 3 seconds or whatsoever, and he's just completely back into the fight. That's how Doc has really increased in, well, in his both his win rate and pick rate recently. Even yesterday, we did see him quite a bit, and Doc just being such a valuable player. Getting damaged, I mean, no, it's actually Azami getting damaged. He can easily send her back up again and just bring her back into the fight. And there's just not a single problem. Unless we're just now finding ourselves at the half-minute mark. The dog finally gets found. The man count gets equalized. But Elias then finds a kill onto Vasi. It's once again the defenders here in the advantage. And the attackers do need to step up as the time is closing down. And they need to find a way to make a proper approach into the bomb site. Especially after Lunar finds a kill onto Ishan.
Yeah, those refrags really starting to come out, and LDL just winning those little trades, winning these little micro battles. They've got the man advantage now, and WiT, they've not yet even pushed down to the floor of the objective. You know, the defense in depth from LDL really powerful here as they're putting a lot of pressure on these attackers now. They know that both of them are contained in that retailer's area, and now all they've got to do is collapse the net. One of them making a little break out there to top square, notably away from the objective.
Now, the last 35 seconds remaining, it's all eyes here. Focus on those last two attackers. They need to find a way and they need to be very quick and effective about it. Finding one kill each will easily equalize the man count. But as Bankers finds the first kill into Lunar, it's now 3 versus 2. They could easily become a 2 versus 2 if they can find one more kill. They need to make their move. Twitch drops the hatch, finds the echo as well. There's one big thorn in the eye being dealt with. And also the diffuser is unfortunately not in hand. That's indeed a very big point that you're making there. So they need to go for those kills. And 5 seconds is not a lot of time to do so, especially with defenders playing offside at the moment. Valkyrie playing at the elevators. And this way the time does in fact run out. The attackers do not have a chance to find the amount of kills they were looking for, and definitely don't have the chance to go for the plans. And this way, they do unfortunately lose their offensive rounds and give LDL a round win.
Yeah, the issue there is that the diffuser went down relatively early in the round, and LDL, they were wise to that. They said, okay, we're going to start slowly shifting our defense from being on the site to being on a diffuser. They left 1 or 2 people who, you know, did get fragged out, but then as the round started slowly ticking down, their defense in depth approach to covering top, then mid, then bottom was really powerful in countering how WiT chose to approach the round. You know, had they gone in at the bottom, had they gone in through garage or through servers, you know, they'd have had to contend with people coming from around and behind them, so they're forced to do this top floor roam clear, as you would expect. But then this defense in depth from LDL and committing so many resources off-site meant that WiT had to really methodically work their way through. Now, when the diffuser went down, I think WiT were unfortunate in that the call didn't go out that the diffuser was down. So they just had to try and frag out. Now, to frag out, they went down to the site. But the defenders, they simply weren't there. And with 5 seconds on the clock, there is absolutely nothing you can do about that. So that's really good game sense from LDL. It's not hitting your head, although they were winning on frags. It's not, you know, it's attacking or positioning or anything like that. It's just knowing how to see out a game. In footballing terms, it's putting the ball over the corner flag and putting your body in between them and the defenders. It was really, really good work from them to control the game.
Yeah, I was just quickly taking a look here at Wikipedia, and actually, surprisingly, Bank is one of the most balanced maps that we are seeing in ESA Cup, together with Consulates. Both of them having a 52.8% win rate, where Bank is actually 52.8% in the favor of the defense, and Clubhouse being 52.8% in the favor of the offense. But these are the 2 most balanced map of the competition. We could really expect a close split score on this map here. But once again, the defenders are suffering their very first casualty. Things are looking good for the offense this time, and that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, this map seems to be balanced. Attackers have a very good chance, even though they're 1 point down, a very good chance to make things up for it, bring us back to an equal score of a potential 2-2, as we're already finding ourselves in a 3-5 uncount.
Another one goes down. Bunkers really doing well to push that advantage. 5-2 now, and it's very quick. MG WiT attacking this a lot quicker than they've been attacking all of the other sites, all the other rounds. MG WiT, they've got a lot of angles which they've opened up onto these attackers. One of them will go down though. Ilias pulling one back on the captain, on Bunkers, but now they've got a 4-2 advantage to try and overcome. The angles, they're there for MG WiT. They can start slowly constricting this net and tightening up on these defenders.
Yeah, I mean, just slightly over a minute remaining. I think they should have a very good chance here. Like, they need their time, of course, as time works in the favor of the defense. But as Ilias, they find to kill onto Vasi, but Ishan immediately going for the refrag there onto Ilias. The attackers now find themselves in a 3 versus 1 advantage. It's all coming down to Zakaria. Attackers have plenty of opportunities to go for a bit of intergathering, trying to find out where this last defender's playing. As he starts finding so many shots, they likely know exactly where he's playing. And indeed, as Ishan exactly managed to pinpoint where Zakaria is playing, he finds the kills. Because yet another round here for the offensive side here of the team. We're now back to once again an equal scoreline of a 2 versus 2.
Yeah, really good there. Really good round from MG WiT. Established control of the rounds early, changed up the tempo. At LDL, they couldn't react in time to that. They got the early pick on Madara, punished for a blind retreat from elevator area, and from there they just started stacking up the kills. They maintained the angles they were holding. They were very disciplined in how they approached it, which is in stark contrast to how they approached round 3, which was I think it's fair to say a little bit messy. So they've really done well to tighten up there. And once again, 80% to 20% on the predictions. I really don't think that's very fair. I think this game is extraordinarily tightly matched. Probably the tightest probably the tightest pair of teams in terms of how close the map could be, how close the series could be, as we're gonna see in the competition.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, like I gotta have a comment on that. Like, to be fair, I would have counted out MG WiT against Asgard already. Like, I really expected Asgard to have a very easy match, or like not too hard match against MG WiT, and at least to make it into this match and have a match against LDL Valour versus Team Asgard match instead. Interestingly, MG WiT surprisingly managed to win a match instead, even though, like, keep in mind, theoretically, MG WiT has disbanded. They're no longer a team. Technically, they're just finishing up what they have started, but they're no longer doing any new competition. So it's a team that has, in theory, like, their morale, their the way they feel about the game shouldn't be too great either. Like, they know that this is like their end. Whenever this is done, they're not going to continue anymore. So, like, you would expect them not to do too great, not too well, not to be on the right morale as a team. But surprisingly, they're doing incredibly well. Like, this is something
You
I would
say that, but then you want to go out in the right way. So I
True.
think, actually, do you know what? If
Exactly.
they've been there together for a long time, go out together by winning a competition. What better kind of fairy tale ending is that? You can't get better. Early pick coming out from MG WiT, bit slower than last round, bit more controlled, but LDL being a little more disciplined. The Monty pick, though, I do love a good Monty pick, as they're going to start applying real pressure and start forcing the defenders, corralling them up into these firing angles, which MG WiT have established early on.
Yeah, I was about to say, MG WiT has everything to lose because they can no longer make up for it if they end up disbanding after this match. But LDL, of course, they will likely stay along a little bit longer, and they need to fight for that as well. But they can always make up for it later on in a different competition, in a different season. And as yet another attacker this time loses his life, is now Ishan getting a kill onto Lunar. We're now finding ourselves in a 3 versus 4. As Valkyrie also gets in a bit of trouble, gets taken out by Bankas playing on that Monty. And now we're finding ourselves in a 2 versus 4 situation. Double the man advantage here for this offensive side here of MG WiT. Like I said earlier, Bank is one of those maps that we generally do see a bit more of a defensive win rate here on the ESA Cup. Well, things do seem definitely to be very different here today, especially Midori gets another kill onto Vessi 2 versus 3 right now. And with the last 40 seconds, I think are getting pretty close. They have the diffusion in their hands, at least something they didn't do previously. Zakaria getting killed onto Ishan, finding a 2 versus 2 right now. Very limited time here remaining. Attackers seem to know where some of those players are playing, but the attackers of the defender just seem to be getting away, seem to be able to retreat to further and safer distances. and now the attackers have a very difficult situation. They have only 20 seconds remaining. They need to decide what to do. Either go for the plants or go for the kills, and likely they will go for the plants. Twitch going for the plants with Monty here on the cover. He can easily stand in front of the Twitch to cover her, but no, he gets found instead. Sakura for the planter plays by Shinji, therefore forced off the defuse. Shinji, after Shinji get a kill onto Sakura, playing the Monty, and Midoriya getting that final kill onto Shinji. Unfortunately, the attackers losing the advantage that they had as they had side control, and the defenders reclaiming the leads, and therefore LDL now putting themselves on a 3 versus 2. I don't know whether Discord is currently being a problem for us or whether Delta Bacon is still here.
No, I'm here. I muted my microphone out because I was screaming at my screen when I saw that naughty flick onto Monty's face. Like, that was disgusting. I think maybe, you know, a little bit of panic set in there. Not entirely unwarranted from MG, where, you know, with the Twitch starting to, you know, maybe sprint Shinji, looking for that last kill. Gets the second to last one, but obviously loses their life in the last. Doesn't get the plant down, so the round ends there and then. Yeah, I mean, I think that flick was lovely. LDL doing really well to pull that round back, because similarly to round 4, they were put on the defensive very, very quickly. Monty corralling these defenders into the firing lanes which they established, and they were attacking that site really nicely. But LDL, they just clubbed together and they somehow just managed to pull it out the fire, which was a really, really good round for them. So they'll at minimum break even on their defensive split. But now they've got to go ahead. They've got to try and defend basement again. Basement, they've won it once on timer. They've lost it once. They've lost it once in a post-plant scenario. So one thing that we do know is they can push it right to the end. Early frag, though, that's not going to help their cause.
No, definitely not. It's a very clear loss, like in placing all of the cameras, of course, but the C4 likely to be lost as you just went to the grave. So it's very unfortunate here for the defensive side of LDL, who could really use the 4-2 splits. But for the attackers of MG WiT, of course, a very nice opportunity to really do even better than is expected than statistically. So very nice start here for them. We can see another defender is on the roam, at least here. Midoriya playing on top of those blue stairs, waiting for any attacker to make their way into the building at the skylights, trying to find an easy pick. But also here Luna playing inside of kitchen, just waiting for those attackers to make their move and patiently waiting for them to get into his crossfire, basically.
Yeah, again, cool and calm control from MG WiT. LDL not playing quite as extensively, likely because of that early death from Ilias, who has been playing that top floor on their basements so far. Tantalizingly close for that peek over onto the Legion. Not quite there, but there it'll be. Shinji picking up a massive kill onto Zakari, making it 5-3. MG WiT, they can smell blood in the air, but they've been caught up by LDL several times. They can't get completed with the man advantage, but they're going to keep compounding it as Vazzy takes Luna off the board. Just with Darian, the Echo left on the board for LDL as MG WiT can start turning the screw.
Yeah, the 3-3 split score definitely seeming within reach here for MG WiT, which would be a great accomplishment for them, especially. But at the same time, if MG WiT can do it, then so can LDL. As Midoriya now finds a kill onto Bangas, at least one step of equalizing the man count is getting a little bit closer. But at the same time, attackers already dropping hatchet. They're getting into the bomb, so they're getting ready for the plants. The last player standing here is Harvey, playing as the Echo. Doesn't even have a proper chance to go for his drones to drop any plants whatsoever. He gets found, he gets taken care of, and this round goes to the attackers off the side of MG WiT, and we're seeing a 3-3 split score, which is, like I said, a good accomplishment here by MG WiT, given that this map is technically defensive favored. And well, from here on, MG WiT, things should only get better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, defensively, you know, really you don't want to drop below a 4-2. 3-3 is acceptable, at least, I suppose, for LDL. They pulled a couple of rounds back from the death. I think they can be proud of a 3-3 split, given that, you know, in rounds 3 and 5, they fell behind. They were at least 5-3, 4-2 behind, and they pulled it back out the fire in both rounds. So they can be very happy that they've managed to save and salvage a 3-3 split. That's very powerful for them on defense. But now it's about how they attack. Let's not forget that LDL, they opted to go OT attack on this map. So when we do go to OT, they'll be carrying on any momentum that they've garnered from that half if we get to OT. Remember, these two teams, last time they fought each other in this league, two maps, the first two maps, both of them went to overtime. Very evenly matched.
Yeah, and of course you're talking about overtime, which of course today's match is not just regular overtime. We're actually will be seeing unlimited overtime if that of course happens. Like no longer 3 rounds and maximum. It just really comes down to having the 2 round advantage in that overtime. So if in a match we would see unlimited overtime, today would be the perfect case. Of course, it's a lower bracket semi-final. There's only 2 teams. There's only 1 match in general. So seeing a limited overtime will be perfect. These 2 teams are extremely good, extremely well, they really deserve to have a spot in the next round of this lower brackets. But as the side here of LDL finds the very first kill there onto the on the player of Ishak, finding that Goyo, we also see Midoriya and Lunar losing the lives on the attacking sides, bringing us to a 3 versus 4 within the very first minute.
Yeah, 2 big kills to pull it back for MG with there. They're doing very well to defend in depth in a similar way to LDL did, but I don't think they. Oh, okay, yeah, they did know, but they're very much trapped in that elevator. They're going to escape using the hatch. The bottom is covered, but they can't land their shots. But it's a very bad moment for Isaac, as they are now completely trapped in that elevator area. All they can do is waste time and play their life.
I'm still over half of the round remaining right now. We're finding ourselves in a 3 versus 4 situation in the favor of the defensive situation, of course, as time works in the favor. But Technic, of course, could easily capitalize and bring things back in the favor. But Ishak getting a kill onto Ilias. Harvey with a kill onto Bank is the Vesting with a kill onto Harvey. Things go really fast and just continue to go fast as the Korea finds a kill onto Ishak. And suddenly we're finding ourselves in a 1 versus 2 situation. So Korea playing as the Buck, left standing against 2 defensive players, both the Warden and the Echo, 2 very difficult players to play against, of course. But luckily, Sakura has brought some decent utility, especially his secondary Harbish utility can really help him to open up some of those hatches, create some new line of sights and entry opportunities against these 2 defenders. But of course, a Warden, I mean, not too valuable against this Buck, especially since he's not brought any smoke grenades or flashbangs, but especially that Echo could be a very big problem. So this way, the Zakaria, the Buck needs to be very effective with his time. He needs to find the kills rather than go for the plans because he would likely not survive any Echo drones. He will not be able to go for plans, so he needs to find the kills and needs to be very quickly. Only 26 remaining. He needs to find a way in. Uses it on the barrel shotgun to find some new lines of sight and entry points, but is mainly just hunting for the kills. 2 players really hunting involved, holding a perfect crossfire, and as then the player, the Warden, gets the kill onto the Buck. It's yet again another defensive win.
Yeah, it's a very disciplined defense at the end, I think. Very disciplined defense, which you want to see really coming out from MG WiT. That was really very well played in that they knew that they had the man advantage. They settled down into their firing lines, into their firing angles, and they just allowed the timer to force the attacker, force the Buck to come to them. And once they came to them, they had the audio cues, they had themselves set, they could just take the fight at their leisure. So very well defended from them. MG WiT, they'll take the lead in this game for the first time. So that's a nice welcome reward for them.
Yeah, it's also something where LDL really had the advantage over Entropy yesterday. Like Entropy so many times playing way too aggressive, really like peeking when they had the advantage, when they shouldn't peek, when they should be playing carefully. And LDL grabbing the advantage every single time. But in this case, MG WiT perfectly waiting it out, doing the opposite thing of what Entropy Gaming did yesterday. Just patiently waiting, holding the angles, even though it's 2 versus 1 situation, the time is low, not going for any peaks, just waiting for the attacker to make the move. And if the attacker manages to at least get 1 defensive kill, or kill onto one of the defenders, and the other defender was ready in the perfect position to get the refrag. And that's something that just MG WiT is doing very well at this moment that we didn't see Entropy doing yesterday against LDL.
Really interesting choice there as well, that they've decided to go to open area rather than go to the what you would say is maybe a more conventional top floor. So they've clearly got a strat, and they're clearly looking to exploit the kind of aggression that LDL would, maybe would display in attacking open area, because with its direct access to the outside on ground floor, there is that temptation to rush. LDL, they've resisted that. They've not rushed in the first 30 seconds, and they're being a little more disciplined in their site setup. as an attacker. I do think there's an element of site setup when you're attacking as well to prepare for that kind of execution phase of an attacking strat where it's all go and it's all frags.
Ooh.
But those frags are not LDLs at the moment, as the defense ESA will pick up the first frag of the round, and that diffuser will lay useless outside.
Yeah, it's one of those bomb sites where the top floor is very valuable, both for the defenders and attackers, of course, as the top floor basically holds control over what happens below you. You need to get control over the top floor for either the attackers to hold back any defenders playing below, or defenders to hold back any attacks below. And as really we see one kill happening one after another. We're now finding ourselves in a 3 versus 4 situations. One defender, or sorry, one attacker, even unfortunately disconnecting with the game, probably having some technical difficulties and rejoining just before the next round is happening. But for now, things are continuing with a 3 versus 4 in the favor of the defenders once more. MG really finding their advantage once they have gone to the defense so far. At least things are looking good for them, and it's really up to the attackers to make a difference here.
Oh, that's a lovely kill that I think comes from an audio cue from Luna. Hearing the player on the stairs, rotating round, getting the shot off immediately, but they don't know about Shinji. Shinji there, who has all of the intel, has all of the surprise on their side. They'll pick up one. They're still alive. They'll pick up a second, and that is an absolutely devastating late roam from Shinji. Ilias, all they can do now is try to frag out. No diffuser in hand. All the intel against them. Shinji on a bit of a tear. They'll run past that door, and Shinji will pick up a third. What a round from Shinji.
Now, just over 14 seconds remaining, the attackers not even checking the corners anymore, which is surprising to me. Like, you would expect the players to still be in almost the same situation here, or the defenders still be almost in the same situation, same position. When in this case, well, here, very good for MG WiT, winning yet another defensive rounds here, where almost LDL seems to be fighting here for a proper comeback on the rounds. But right now, MG WiT with a nice 2-round advantage, only being 1 round away from securing the map point as well. So very surprising here, especially considering the community votes, my predictions from this match as well, and how the community was predicting LDL to do throughout this season. But of course, don't count out LDL yet. They're still playing in the offense. Yes, not the favorable position, but well, bang, they do have proper opportunities. And for some reason, MG WiT avoiding the sub floor, Bacon.
Yeah, they really are, aren't they? They're not wanting to go up there. You know, maybe they've scrimmed it, maybe they've said, you know what, we cannot defend that, we don't want to try defending that. But then all the, both of those ground floor sites, they both require a very heavy top floor presence. So maybe they're looking more towards that kind of defense in depth and saying, okay, we can play up there, we can pick up kills, but then we, if we lose our lives up there, we haven't lost the site yet. So, maybe they're just thinking, we can't play that site, but we can use that site type thing. It's a very interesting one. Ishan there, ready to pick up a cheekily early kill. They'll not quite hit their heads. They'll take a little bit of damage on their escape. Maybe could have been worth pre-setting up that wall, but there we go. But that's a little statement of intent. We're not going to let you take this building easily, but Luna will pick up the first kill, taking a massive player off the board. Shinji going down early.
Yeah, losing the water is a very unfortunate position here for the defenders to beat themselves in. They need to be very careful because it could easily lose yet another life here. It's really here. Bangas playing with fire as he's still playing on those windows where the attacker on the repel. But as he's now being very smart, he's rotating to the lobby. He could easily find one from these windows. We can see clearly with our observer outlines that there's a player there, but the player doesn't know that there's someone at ADMs, and that's Ilias here finding Bankas, yet another defender losing his life for just playing a little bit too aggressively. But at the same time, we can see Ishan getting a kill there onto Ilias, bring us to a 4 versus 3, where we have now lost the Brava, the Azami, and the Warden, where there's still some of the most valuable operators alive at this moment.
That can't have been too far off the head there, but they're not going to pick up that kill. Ishan and Isaac both fallen. It's a one-man game. Vasi, 3 for 3 so far, but they're going to go down as well in a comprehensive victory for LDL over on that Sellers site. And that, that's a good round for them to stymie any momentum that this MG WiT side was starting to develop. So far, both teams, they've been going round for round, they've been trading, but that was the first time that MG WiT had gone 2 rounds in a row. LDL, they had to win that round in order to just say, no, stop. You're not going to get any momentum. We're going to slowly reel you back in. And that was really good from them.
Yeah, indeed. And for now, it's really going back and forth for these two teams. Right now, 4 versus 5. LDL getting one more round will bring us to the 5 versus 5 mark. But of course, it's yet to be seen how this round will be going. Right now, we can see that MG WiT is going back to the basement bomb site, considered to be one of the strongest bomb sites of this map. Just being such a bunker, no soft walls from the outside. It's only really coming down to a horizontal push or from above to the verticality. But horizontal through some of the there's no soft walls surrounding it. There's only a few entryways horizontally, either being the garage or being tunnel, and that's about it. So just being one of those bunker bomb sites where the defenders generally have a good advantage here, and it's really coming down to the side of LDL how they will attack it and what MGL will bring to the defender properly.
Yeah, basement being a really strong site for both teams, I think, so far. Basement, you know, where you do force a top floor roam clear. You do then force a ground floor roam clear before the eventual actual push onto basement. So you can delay a lot of time, and this is what MG WiT did really powerfully, really well in round 7. They wasted a huge amount of time with that elevator setup, which LDL, they're wise to now. They're not going to let themselves get caught out again. They're setting up their intel with the drones, with the Zero, in order to counter that. The drone economy at the moment for MG WiT, pretty poor. That's going to be the first drone down so far.
Yeah, the size of the drones is definitely not a good thing, but Lunar finding a kill here onto Isha. That's the first defender losing her life. Good thing for LDL, especially if they want to be on track to bring this round here to a 5-5 score. So finding that first defender, especially the Vigil, is a great start, of course, because Vigil Master Roma, a big thorn in the eyes here for the attackers. If they want to get control of the map, they need to deal with him, because if they don't, he will eventually capitalize and find some damage here with him off the board. The attackers can now finally start focusing a little bit more on these defenders playing on the ground floor after they will start focusing on the basement. But Shinjin gets a beautiful C4 kill here, pre-placed one onto Lunar. It's back to 4 versus 4, and the Ram has been dealt with.
Yeah, bit of a slow round. Both teams maybe starting to realize the enormity of the round. A little gunfight will come out onto stairs, but that's okay. MG WiT, they don't need to take that. They'll back up. LDL similarly will back up a little bit. Challenge still going on though on this ground floor. They've got the escape if they need to through the hatches to get out of open area. All they're doing now is taking up time, but the Vert's going to come out. That's going to pick off Bankers. He's going to fall to Harvey, but now it's a 4v3. 1 minute left on the clock. MG WiT, now is the time where they can start thinking, do you know what? Let's retreat. Let's start hunkering down and invite them into our firing lanes. We know we're good at that.
Yeah, I mean, just with this 4 versus 3 situation here. There's only 45 seconds remaining for the attacking side. Yes, they have the man advantage, but the time is starting to tick down on Harvey. However, and Zakuria with another one. Suddenly, so many kills happening here from the attacking side. All 3 kills that they needed, they are finding. And yes, with this, they are now equalizing the score, bringing us to this 5 versus 5 situation, where the upcoming 2 rounds are going to be extremely decisive for both these two teams, because either we're going to see 2 rounds wins from one of those 2 teams, and we'll see a 5-7 or 7-5 win, or we'll see one from one each, and then we'll bring us to overtime. And does a bacon. I'm only just realizing how important this match is, because of course this match will not only take these 2 teams to the lower bracket finals, but will also put any of these 2 teams, whoever wins this, into the top 3. And the top 3 also means winning a portion of the prize pool, because the top 3 is where the prize pool goes. Like, if you at least win this match, you will guarantee yourself at least of 250 euros, which is big, of course. Like, this is what you've been fighting off. It's a return of the money that you need to pay to enter this competition in the first place. You will get a nice extra, and well, you will be able to call yourself a top 3 team of ESA Cup. So this game is huge. Like, even if you don't win whatever comes after this, which is of course even more important, at least winning this match puts you in such a good position.
Absolutely true, but neither of the teams will be thinking about top 3 right now. Both of these teams, their eyes are on the prize. They're both giving it their all. MG WiT, I think they were caught out there. despite a really good intel game, little pre-fight, they get really aggressive, this MG WiT team. They're really starting to push on these swings. It's not working for them so far. The intel's there, and the intel is what won LDL that last game, because you saw the flank out on the roam go out around side. That came off the back of an intel call, almost certainly, and that is what won them the round. The intel, so that's really powerful for them. MG WiT, they're getting a little aggressive, they get a little quirky. They've sat down in the game of chess, but at the moment it's not working for them, which has allowed LDL to come back into the game and potentially take us closer to an overtime. But there we go, LDL, they'll get punished for an overswing from Ilias being kept quiet in the last few rounds.
Yeah, 4 versus 5 right now here in the favor of the defensive side. Of course, defense always favoring the time at least, but as only as 1 minute has been passing by, there's still plenty of time for the attackers to make a little difference here. Logic calls coming up from the Dokkaebi, trying to find out and pinpoint where these defenders are playing. Valkyrie being one of those, playing in the elevator. Valkyrie is the Vigil, playing in the elevator. Hatch is close, so no way out there. Flashbang will easily flash this Vigil, giving him no opportunity to make it out. But especially playing on those main stairs, on those wide stairs, he is able to cover this Vigil, save his life a little bit longer, finds a kill. Shinji with a kill onto Harvey, brings us to a 2 versus 5, where the defenders of MG WiT are finding themselves in a very good situation versus only 2 attackers remaining, of which one now falls to the hands of Bankus, and then it's all coming down here to Sakuria. The ace, he has some heart breaching utility, actually has all of his heart breaching utility, so he can easily open up those hatches. That's not his worry. His worry is playing against 4 defenders right now after he found the kill onto Bankus, which is a huge task here for just 1 player. He needs to ace if he wants to get every single kill and win the round here for the team, which is almost an impossible task, but not entirely impossible as long as he's willing to try, and as long as the side of MG WiT is playing quite aggressively, he might have a chance. But if MG WiT is smart, they play very safely here.
Yeah, you can see there's a little bit of panic creeping into his game there as he's having to flick around, try and cover every angle at once. But MG WiT, they're standing off him. They're not good. You know, they're not. Oh, there's the intel. There's the intel. That's why it's so vital, and that's why LDL have been pulling things out of the fire. But the intel goes both ways. MG WiT, they've got a cam. The red pings, the yellow pings, they'll both come out. They now know the Zakaria is heading down to site. 15 seconds. He has the diffuser in hand. He can plant, but first he's got to wake his way through 2 overlapping firing lanes, and he will fail to the crossfire. 6-5 map point goes to MG WiT.
Yeah, indeed, it's a 5-6 here in favor of LD WiT. Means they only need to win 1 more round here to win this very first map. The map pick of, I believe it was LDL, right? Yes, it was indeed LDL's map pick, so that will be phenomenal here for the side of MG WiT if they actually manage to pull this through and win here with a 5-7 score. But at the same time, LDL is only 1 round behind on MG WiT. They need to win only 1 round to bring this to 6-6, secure the overtime, which is unlimited, by the way, if you didn't know yet. Of course, we have mentioned them various times before, but this match is indeed unlimited overtime. So even if this goes to limited time, don't expect this to end in 3 rounds at least. Like, at least as a team doesn't get a 2-round advantage, this map isn't going to end, and we'll see a lot of rounds happening. But for now, of course, it really all comes down to this potential final round of this map. At least as long, of course, MG WiT is able to win yet another defensive round, which statistically they should be capable of doing so. But of course, LDL being the more favored team, statistically stronger team as well, they should have a pretty good chance of winning an offensive round here.
Absolutely, MG WiT with the chance in the next 3 minutes of having taken LDL's map off them in an exact copy of what they did in the last time these 2 teams met in ESA. So that's very exciting to see if that's going to happen. Once again, MG WiT absolutely allergic to that top floor site, instead of opting once again to defend the open area. Back in round 8, they won open area with some big early kills and a huge Shinji sneaky roam, where he was playing a meeting room and not one of the LDL players spotted him. They're going to be looking out for that, I would imagine.
Yeah, and this thing is putting very well here for the side of LDL's majority, getting their very first kill onto Ishak. That's the dog unfortunately lost already, and Banker's now they're immediately like recapitalizing by finding Harvey, bringing the Mancow back to an equal 4 versus 4. Is of course they're playing here on the ground floor, which is one of those not standard bomb sites really. With this 4 versus 4 situation, things are now being equal. We're starting off with an equal man count here. And Ace is one of those other operators, the attackers, who's entering the building, finding ways to deal with those castle barricades. Of course, he's not the most useful one for those, but he can definitely do the job. And that's why he is creating some new entry points and line of sights here for the team.
Yeah, Castle wasting a little bit of the attacking breach utility, but with a lack of breach deny, that's not going to matter too much. But Bankers, doesn't matter if he's taking Castle for his utility, he's picking up frags as well. That's huge. Big gunfight coming out on this top floor. They'll walk away, they'll reset. They don't need to throw away their lives. Have they learnt their lesson from that early aggression, which didn't serve them well too earlier? Shinji falls to Luna. Bankers picks one back up on Ilias, taking us to a 3v2.
Yeah, 2v3 here in the favor of the side of MG Wits, in the favor of defenders, which definitely should favor them. And as the courier then gets a kill, they're on to Ishan. Also, Vesina falls to the hands of Lunar. It really seems to be going down to the favor of LDL. They need this to at least extend this map, to bring this map to overtime, to have a chance to win their own map pick. It's only Banker standing in their way. The castle playing here inside of Tellers. They need to find him, they need to take care of him. And especially with the diffusion now planted, things are definitely working in the favor as well. Tyrman now working against the defenders rather than the attackers, and it's all coming down here to Bangus. He needs to find 2 attackers who are standing his way, defending their own diffuser that they have planted. And as Lunar then finds the kill, they're on to Bangus. LDL is not giving up on their own mapping. They're extending it as much as they can, and they have now brought us to the overtime. No, it's a question how long this overtime is gonna last. Like I said, unlimited overtime. Whichever team wins 2 rounds wins this map, but it's not going to be limited like 3 rounds like usual.
Both teams with a 3-3 split on their defensive halves. LDL opting to maintain their attack before the match, so they're going to be carrying on in the attack. Now, unlimited OT, it's worth mentioning last time these two teams faced each other in the ESA Cup. One of the maps ended 8-7, which of course, in these conditions, it would not. You need to win by 2 clear maps in unlimited OT, so 8-7 would not be a winning score. So both of these teams, they're going to have to strap in and lock in, because this one could turn into a bit of a marathon.
Indeed. And with 6-6, of course, we can now see the LDL is starting on the offensive side. I believe the previous round, yeah, LDL was on the def... No. Am I tripping here? LDL was on the offense, right? Previous round?
Yeah, LDL was still on the offense.
So
yes,
these
LDL, they attacked and took open area in a post-plant scenario, so they're going to be attacking again on this basement side. MG, we're going back. Now, basement, they have not had basement taken off them so far, apart from in round 10, where that was frags. So far, MG, they've been really good at playing basement and using it to waste time, because you have to clear the top floor, then you have to clear the ground floor, and then you can attack the site. Now that Twitch zone, that's going to be important, because they're starting to pick off this utility far in advance of it actually being needed.
Indeed, and with this way we have both sides having a 3-3 split, so it's hard to say which team is better on which of the sides. Of course, LDL and both MG WiT actually have the advantage that they both played on these sides very recently. LDL playing, of course, on attack the previous round, and MG WiT playing on the defense the previous rounds. So both are a little bit more warmed up with these sides rather than it being swapped. But of course, that swap is going to happen next round. So it's really coming down to whoever wins this round to potentially have a little advantage here. With this round, they're starting up with a 5 versus 5 with a bit of damage that are being done to Bankers playing as a Goyo. It's really not too much happening yet. The first minute has expanded, but not a single kill has happened. Not too much of significant control either by the offensive side. Yes, they have some people inside on the top floor, but there's still plenty of roamers around to hold them back eventually. And there's still a lot of work to be done by either side.
Yeah, it's a bit of a waiting game to see who blinks first now. I think this is the longest we've gone so far in the series without a kill in the round. We've reached the halfway point in the round, no kill so far. Nowhere near a kill, in fact, now that Doc's healed up Bunkers. So it's gonna be a bit of a longer one, but we are gonna see attacking coming through server, so they're ignoring that top floor. They're saying we're just gonna come straight through server. We're gonna attack horizontally, not vertically. No vertical control just yet, and they're holding out for roamers. MG WiT maintaining control of the vertical element again. gameplay from open area as the push starts to come through.
Yeah, but just the last minute now, starting very soon. His very first kill coming out from Lunar onto Shinji. That's at least the first defender taken care of after he finds a second there onto Bangus. And I believe that's every single roamer now being dealt with. So this is the perfect moment for the attackers to actually make a move onto the defense. Defenders below. Echo drones also being found by the Twitch drone. Huge moments here for the attackers to get the perfect opportunity to potentially go for the plants. You could quickly see Sakura already baiting the plant, at least potentially baiting some of those Echo drones or any C4 potentially in play. But as Harvey gets a kill onto Vatsy, it's now 5 vs 2. Made it a 5 vs 1 as Luna gets a kill onto Ishak. And that's Elias with the final kill onto Ishan. And it's a flawless round here for LDL. A perfect way for them to start this overtime. Basically a bit of a fresh start. And they're now finding themselves match point, or map point, I should say, with a 7-6 score.
Yeah, so LDL, they've pulled it back. MG they were at map point 2 rounds ago. They've now had 2 rounds in a row taken off them, but now they're on the attack. LDL on the defensive. Now we do know that in a very, very minimal way that the map favors the defense, but so far these two teams, they've been so evenly matched that this is the first time that really one of them has pulled excessively far ahead. So it's interesting how this one's going to go. They're going to go to top floor, notably MG WiT absolutely refusing to defend the top floor, saying no, absolutely not, we are not going to top floor, we're going to stay on ground floor and below. We'll use the top floor, we will not defend it. So it's the first time since round 5 that we're seeing CEO meeting as a site. Interesting to see how this one's going to go, but also LDL, they've got that momentum generated from a flawless round back in round 13 just now. Really interesting round to take some momentum from and push on. Can they now take their map pick?
Yeah, before operator repick was introduced, this used to be a huge thing to go for a bit of a less expected side. Of course, right now it really comes down to MG with really using the drones properly, finding out what information they can gather on the top floor, really finding out where they're playing and which operators they're bringing to bring out the proper lineup to deal with the situation. But I guess they've definitely been able to do so, find out that they're playing on the top floor and get an idea of what operators have been brought to compete against them to bring the proper lineup here. And with the now finding a way into the building, like they have brought Hibana to deal with some of those long distance breachings here, especially onto the elevator hallway there. Loads of Hibana pilots already coming out. Every single one. That's all of the hard breaching utility really being focused on this specific wall that covers this hallway. Yes, it's a very strong breach, but at the same time, using all of the breaching capability here from the attacking sides is a little bit questionable, as they could also use it very well on different positions.
Absolutely they could, but I think we've seen this in a couple of rounds on their attacking half where MG WiT, they just love to open up that firing line and then they like to push the defenders into that firing line. So now MG WiT, you see here Luna can't really cross to help out their friends. They're a bit isolated. They've either got to play their life or make a very daring escape. Monty here, they're going to start pushing up the main staircase, up the circle stairs, to try and apply a little bit of pressure and bait these players into stepping into one of MG WiT's firing lines. They really like the kind of hammer and anvil approach to Siege.
It's just such a tight angle. Did he actually connect that simple on there? I believe he did. As every single defender is full HP. I didn't see the blue bar like moving up or anything, but I guess he connected. But yeah, it's a nice way of using that simple, so to just really boost up one of your teammates. Luna, meanwhile, finding a kill there onto Ishan. That's the first attacker in this case losing his life. That's Hibana loss. Used most of her utility, so she did some important work here for the team. But of course, with the gun in her hand, she would have been very useful as well. So it's a nice win here for the attacking side, or for defensive side, especially with the attackers only having 50 seconds remaining to do their job, to find those defenders, to find a way into the bomb site, go for the defuse. Legion then finding another kill onto Vasily as well, even really increases the chances here for LDL here on their defense even further. A 5 versus 3, even more winnable. And then with just 30 seconds remaining here for the attacking side, they need to find a way into the bomb site very, very soon. Need to find some kills to equalize their chances, to equalize the Mango. But Harvey getting killed on Shinji, Elias getting killed onto Ishak. Bank is then getting a kill on Harvey, but immediately getting refed by Duria. Things are all over here for the side of MG WiT, as LDL wins their very own map pick here with a 8-6 score, I believe. Yeah, 8-6 score that is indeed. And wow, beautiful first map here from LDL. Very close, but well done.
Yeah, really, really good LDL victory in the end there. Really powerful from them. They did extraordinarily well to actually pull that back. Maybe a bit disappointing for MG Wit that they were so slow in that round. They did things right in that first minute. They hit their milestones. When you're attacking, there's certain milestones you need to hit. Be that a breach, be that completing a section of a
Mhm.
roam clear. They completed those objectives early on. They did very well. They opened up all the angles that they wanted to open up, and they were holding them. But the issue then is that it all kind of went a bit Pete Tong, it all kind of went a bit topsy turvy when that long hold from the Hibana was taken out off the board. That then allowed the defenders to move freely once again through that long hallway, and there wasn't kind of a backup option. All the rest of the team, all the rest of MG Wit, they were caught in transition. I think you saw 3 of them crossing Monty at the head over to the spiral staircase up to up main stairs, and from there they signposted their attack a little too much. It was very obvious for the team
Mm.
of LDL to say, "Do you know what? They're all coming from there. We can just take our time." Ash, a little slow to get in the building. They get picked off at the end with a very delayed roam. The audio calls coming from A, the rappel up to the roof, B, the drop off the roof, and then pushing through into the top stairwell. And it was very
Mm.
unfortunate for them that in the end, they just couldn't execute. They hit their first milestone, but from there, they didn't do much else.
And well, at the same time, this was a very good map for LDL. It was at the same time a very close map as well. MGB put a very well effort on actually really trying to contest LDL on their own map pick. And after this, we'll be going to this map pick off the side of MGWits, which is going to be border. So that's all coming down. Like the big question is, how will MGB do on their own map pick compared to how LDL will be able to compete against them? That's the big question. We'll find out after a short break, of course, here, about 5 minutes or so, and then we'll be heading out to this second map of today. So don't go too far. Grab a little drink, grab a little snack, visit the toilet, and we'll see each other in about 5 minutes to find out how the second map will be going. See ya. So, Delta Bacon, welcome back here to this second map of today. We're going to border after LDL won with a 8-6 score against MG Wit on their very own map pick, which was going to be, which was Bank in this case. So right now we're going to the second map pick here, which is MG Wit's map pick. And apparently, what we're hearing from production, we will never even imagine what these map of operator bands are going to be. I don't know, Delta Bacon, are you ready to make some kind of prediction what we can expect here? Like for me,
Absolutely not.
border, unexpected
Absolutely not.
operator
Because
bands.
if we can't believe what the bands are going to be, right? Here's my reasoning: they're going to be so far off piece that no one's ever going to be able to predict them. I think one thing I do want to draw attention to though is that this is MG Wit's pick,
Yeah.
but on their allegedly worst map, they took LDL
Oh.
to 8-6, right? They took them
Yeah.
the distance. By no, even if
Hmm.
LDL were to clear out this second map, right? You cannot say in any way, shape, or form that it's not a damned close map.
Hmm.
Match even.
Yeah.
Border, this is LMG Wit's pick. Now, given that we know that the operator bands are going to be a
I'm
little
just
quirked
thinking.
up, maybe we should dive in and see what they are.
I'm just thinking, like, what if it's like glass or something? Glass being one of the operators which definitely could work in combination with his smoke canisters. So that could definitely be one of those operators. I have him seeing being played on border. So, like, just thinking about unimaginable. Like, that's one of those that I'm thinking of. A lion. Like, again, that's one of those operators that you generally wouldn't expect either. So, okay, like, I gotta give him that with production. This is one of the operators that you generally don't see. It will be the second time today, and the second time in history, by the way, that we're seeing Lion being banned. So after the previous map, it's still a surprise, but not as much of a surprise. But it's definitely still one of those surprising ones. And okay, Blackbeard. I mean, after the buff or the rework rather of Blackbeard, not too surprising specifically.
Yeah, yeah, nothing too surprising about these so far. So Lion getting banned out by MG WiT. They really don't want to play against Lion, do they? Or LDL, do they play a lot of Lion? They used similar operators last time in that they used
Okay.
Takebi to provide that intelligence. Cade getting banned out. I'm getting the feeling we're going to see the exact same operators as last time. So we're going to see a very similar set of strats coming up.
Yeah.
Is kind of what my intuition and the production chat telling me. So Cade's getting banned off. No
Oop.
real surprise there. That's your breach denial. You've still got a mute to use, and there's Mira. Wow, guys, way to mix it up.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Like when production said that we would see some very unexpected bans, I was maybe expecting something to be more wild than this. Yes, Lion is
Yeah,
definitely the most wildest Oh,
way
apparently
to
they were
hype
being,
us up.
apparently they were being sarcastic.
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
But let's get into it though, because
Shit.
it's not a bad set of bands, is it? You know what I mean?
No,
I think
definitely not.
none of them particularly unexpected. Blackbeard in particular being incredibly powerful so far in the competition. One thing worth noting is the last time we came to this map, it was actually LDL's pick. They picked it last time, and MG WiT took it from them. It wasn't a resoundingly big victory. That one is the one that went 8-7. That one went to kind of a max OT if we were playing under these rules. But it was taken off them in the second OT of the game. So that kind of makes sense because MG WiT, they've got a precedent now of taking this map away from Lineage Defense League. So maybe they're looking to recapture what they did way back when.
Yeah, I just wish Red into this custom a little bit better from production because, of course, the operator bands are exactly the same as what we have seen the previous map. So, yeah, not that of a surprising operator bands here. I mean, they make total sense, like you said, like these operator bands. Like they all have their reason for it. Like still Lion being the most unique one historically, but for this match, well, this is the second time never seeing them. So Attackers are now really making their way towards the building, looking for a way in as usual. It's LDL starting on the offense here, MG WiT starting on the defense, where I believe Border historically here in ESA is a defensive favored map with a 53%. And well, but the attacks actually getting the very first kill here on the board with taking out Shenji. That's a good start for them.
Yeah, it's a really early kill, and I think maybe that comes, again through an overpeak or something of that nature, because I can't imagine how they were taken out otherwise. LDL, they've not really had a chance to aggress onto a site where you would imagine a mute would be, so I can only think that Shinji has tried to be a bit quirky, pick up an early kill and set the tempo early. That's not gone well for them. A minute down into the round, MG WiT down by one player, but they're staying very solid in where they are, and they're denying the intel game from coming out from LDL. They're stopping those drones. Dymos, though, doesn't even need line of sight to paint you. They can just pick you and they can just say, right guys, they're there. Go fetch.
Yeah, indeed. And we're just about half of the round now expiring. It's really still the defenders or the attackers here in the favor as they're finding themselves in a 5 versus 4 situation. But of course, this is likely not going to delay too long, especially as Jishan here gets the kill there onto the Lunar. The knock just sneakily being there around the corner, but getting found with a nice little headshot here brings us to this 4 versus 4 situation. Before being almost shot mid-air, but being detonated in a position where it doesn't do any damage onto the attacker. Legion go for a run-up by getting punished for it. Harvey also getting a kill there onto Bankas, and suddenly it's 4 versus 2, make that a 4 versus 1 at least if the injured Wamai gets finished. And yes, he does. That's Harvey with his second kill for this round, and that's Harvey getting that third kill for the round as well here. Also the last remaining player, which I believe was Vasi. And this way the round here goes to the side of the offense, which is the side of LDL, putting the score on 1-0 again for them to start off with.
Yeah, I think there's some really interesting decisions coming out from this MG WiT team because as you saw, in the last map, they have some, flashes of brilliance where they, LDL just couldn't play them. They played LDL completely off the field. They also had some games where the decision making fell down a little bit. I'm thinking of maps like I'm thinking of round 8 and round 9 really, when LDL started their little comeback, where the decision making wasn't there. Where a lot of big swings came out completely unsupported, and they started dropping like flyers. I mean, yeah, you just saw that go from a 4v4 to a 4v1 within 10 seconds. And it came off the back, not of LDL, methodically working their way around, forcing these MG WiT players into their little firing lanes. No, it came from MG WiT swinging as individuals. Now, when they play as a team, I don't think they're touchable, but the consistency just isn't quite there, and it seems to vary round to round as to whether they're a team or whether they're 5 individuals.
Yeah, indeed. So we're now here. It's LDL getting the very first offensive round here on the board, where Water in general, like in general terms here for the R6 scene, is considered offensive favorite. We're here in the ESA, slightly more defensive favorite in general. LDL at least getting that very first offensive round here on the boards, and now going here potentially for a second. We're already seeing a very first early stim pistol here coming out as the bandit somehow got damaged a little bit there, but now has been brought back to full HP. But at the same time, attack is already making a very nice entry. We can see the Nug being already inside on the ground floor, just being sneakily, finding some of those cameras already, and just positioning it to potentially go for snake approach. But no, Ishan says a big no here to Lunar as he finds the headshot on the neck on the top of the eastern stairs. And, well, basically secures a man advantage here for the side of MG WiT.
Yeah, really good territory gain from LDL in the first minute of the map. It feels like we've been here a few minutes longer than we actually have. Bandit going to try and trick out the ace charges and delay that breach a little longer. That's not going to work because the second charge goes off, and we are going to see them starting to effect a breach through into that area. But that's not the site. They're not quite there yet. They've still got contend with these MG WiT defenders as they start pushing through a couple of rooms layered with defensive traps and things like that. So they've still got to work their way through a little bit.
Yeah, it's a small accomplishment of a bigger plan that, of course, will help the side of LDL to do whatever they need to do to get a proper entry into office from where they can do more damage onto the bomb site itself. That was definitely a good accomplishment for them, but there's still a lot of work to be done. They do still have 1 minute and 15 seconds to do so, which is a decent amount of time, and especially as Midoriya gets a kill there onto Vasi and Harvey gets a kill on the Bankas. Things are suddenly looking pretty good here for the side of LDL. A 4 versus 3, where they can now make their way into office. However, Ishan getting a kill there onto Harvey complicates things a little bit, but with the man count now being equalized, there's still a proper opportunity. Like I said, with this walls into office being opened up, the attackers are not able to make their way in. There seems to be a rotation from the hallway, which has been used here. Or actually, no, not a rotation, but the button that seems to be there into Fountain, where he can or is trying to stop down those, like just to push back those defenders as long as they can. But as Midoriya then finds to kill on the Shenji, that one specific bandit I was talking about, was a second or third for this round at least onto Ishak. It's all coming down to Ishan, and he gets found as well here by that switch. A quad kill here for this player in question, and that's yet again another round here for the offensive side of of LDL.
Sometimes rounds are won by a team working together really well. Sometimes it's won by a team pulling together and pulling something out of the fire. Sometimes it's won by one player putting the team on their back. Madri with a massive 4K there, doing exactly that. Really well done. I think it was very unfortunate that MG WiT decides to leave that kind of fountain offense completely down to the bandit, because when you push through that fountain area, if you're trying to hold from the left on the fountain side of that room, you're completely naked. All you can do is hit your shots. There's no cover, there's no protection. I don't believe they had a shield in there, and I don't think they had any utility either. So those flashes went over. Madri was able to push through, and in the lack of a crossfire, which is something that MG WiT have actually been pretty good at setting up so far in the series, without a crossfire, Madri just had the advantage. Pika's advantage, swung around, popped the bandit, and then went and cleaned up the rest of the map. So, it was very unfortunate to see them left alone there.
Yeah, indeed. But so far, LDL is starting very well here on the map pick of MG WiT. Of course, MG WiT picked this map, meaning LDL had to pick the starting side. And they specifically went for the attack here as they starting out with a 2-0 win. Like I said earlier in ESA, yes, this map is defensive favorite, but generally in R6, this map might be a little bit more offensive favorite instead. ESA can just be a little bit weird sometimes, can be a little bit unpredictable, which is what I love about this competition. But for now, it seems to be that at least LDL is being able to make good work here of their first 2 offensive rounds. But the question, of course, is whether they are able to keep up with this, especially as, of course, the bomb sites keep changing. This might also favor MG WiT, and especially since the ground floor and the pools, for example, is being brought out together with the Valkyrie. The side of MG WiT could do some real damage here onto the attackers.
Yeah, absolutely key on this site in particular is maintaining vert as a defender. You need to maintain that vertical hold as long as you can, because ventilation in particular is such a difficult site, such a difficult room to try and hold just horizontally. If you don't maintain vert control for as long as you can, you're going to really struggle to hold the site. Here, we can see LDL. They're savvy to that. They know what they're doing. They're going to start opening up these walls and trying to push out through onto that vertical hold and take it for themselves. But MG WiT defending in depth, and they're not doing anything too daft just yet. Approaching the minute and a half of the round, halfway, and no kills just yet.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a slower start here for either of the two sides, but as I'm saying, that's Bangas getting the very first kill there onto Lunar. That's the buck being dealt with. That's actually a very big pick here for the defensive side, but unfortunately then Harvey finds a kill out of Vessi as well, which is the Valkyrie being lost, and also a C4 with it, I believe, as the C4, I believe, wasn't used yet. Harvey then getting another kill there onto Ishan, which then also the pulse being lost, and another kill there onto Ishan, not even mentioning that he's currently inside of the bomb side as well. So this is huge for the attacking side, especially with them now being on a 4-2 man advantage. Great start here for them. And with just 1 minute remaining, they have perfect side control. Bankas, however, fighting bad, finding Harvey, that one person who just took out so many of his teammates. This before being turned, unfortunately not connecting, which is very unfortunate here for the defenders. But with a 3 versus 2, the time, however, is starting to tick down here for those attackers. Valkyrie still in play, finding those Valkyrie camps that have been placed before, and that are still being controlled even by the Death's teammates here of the defensive team. And this way, the attackers are getting a little bit more control one by the second. And yeah, with 3 versus 2, there's 30 seconds remaining. They are trying to find a way. They don't have, I mean, Elias has the diffuser inside, so they just need to get Elias in the right position so he can actually go for the plans. And it's all up to Bankers and Shinji to make that, to make sure that doesn't happen. We can see some defenders are making their way upstairs. Even Bankers getting a kill onto Securia. He's getting his third kill for this round. It's now 2 versus 2, but at the same time, Elias is able to stick down the plans. Another defender falls to the hands of Maduria, and now it's all coming down to the Warden, who gets found by Elias. And this way, after the fuse has been planted, attackers find that final kill and secure yet another round here for the side of LDL.
First time defuse gets planted so far. LDL, they were struggling really a little bit there. They really were. They were struggling to take the vert, but then I don't know really what happened with MG WiT's defense. They allowed Harvey just to walk on site and pick up a 3k and completely turn the round on its head. By walking on site, they forced the MG WiT defenders, the roamers, the ones who were holding from vert, onto vent. They forced them to rotate off of the vert, so then vertical control, it flipped. LDL had the vertical control. They could drop down through hatch into bathroom, create that breach, and then just plant very surreptitiously. Whilst these MG WiT defenders, they were holding more towards that ventilation side. No response coming out. Post-plant scenario, 2v2, 2v1, 2v0. Big round from Harvey. Big round for LDL as they take a third round on the trot in this map. But in terms of the series, that's now 5 rounds. Oh, sorry, 6 rounds unanswered from LDL. They've almost won a map unanswered. MG WiT, they need to pick up a round. They need to stymie the bleed. Stop hemorrhaging rounds to LDL, else this second map is going to be over a lot quicker than the first.
Yeah, definitely. This is also the most one-sided scoreline that we have seen today, like a free round advantage, something that we haven't seen in this previous map as well. So LDL is definitely starting well, even though this isn't their own map pick. Yes, they have been able to choose the preferred starting sides, so that definitely is expected to work in their favor. But already getting 3 rounds on a row without losing a single is an absolute phenomenal start for them. It's really a wish for me, even though I'm not signing with any of these two teams, for MG WiT to at least start getting some rounds on the board right now, right here, right now, so we can at least get hopefully a bit of a closer map between the two teams and give MG WiT at least a chance to fight back. Because if this LDL is going to be let loose a little bit longer, given the chance to win more and more rounds, then things are getting more and more complicated for MG WiT once they go to their role swap.
A little more discipline coming out from MG WiT, not letting LDL push into the building and not succumbing to that kind of desire to roam and push out really quickly, but potentially a big flank coming out here as that opens up the site. That'll let all of the LDL attackers start pushing in, and now they'll start charging and occupying that territory now vacated by MG WiT. Big flank coming out, and that's going to be another double kill for Harvey as he starts really popping off. That's 5 in the last 2.
Yeah, really the moment LDL was looking for, especially as Harvey then also finds a kill onto Bankus. Shinji with a kill then onto Harvey, but it's still here Shinji all left standing. Low on HP against 3 different attackers in this Lunar, then finds that final kill. It's once again another offensive round win here from the side of LDL, putting them on a 4-0 start, which is just insane. Yes, again, like I said, Border might be attacking favorite, might be defensive favorite, might be a bit perfectly balanced, but 4 rounds on the board is already like a bare minimum that LDL should do on this map, and they have done so already. It's really just now the moment where we really question MGWIT. Can you please wake up? Can you please start winning rounds and please at least try to bring this to a 4-2 or 5-1 in the worst possible situation, so you have a chance to fight back and bring us some amusing game. Otherwise, LDL is just gonna take it home.
Yeah, once again we see Harvey with a big flank. Not this time onto site, but onto where MG were holding, and I think they only picked up 1 kill at first. They ended on a 3k, their second one in 2 rounds. 6 kills in 2 rounds, that's really a huge contribution, and it's showing in the statistics where, you know, you've got players on MG WiT, 4s, 2s and 1s. Harvey sitting on 10 and 3. Massive contribution from Harvey so far. Their cost must be enormous, but there we go. Harvey with a big flank, enabling that push, and MG WiT kind of collapsing at that first stage. From there, the momentum was such they couldn't retreat into sight. LDL, they really hit the goal button once Harvey picked up that first frag. 4-0, round 5. LDL now 7 rounds unanswered. They have won a whole map since the last time MG WiT picked up a round. That's huge. MG WiT starting to turn into a bit of a rout.
No. That's a drone hole. That's a drone hole from what side? Such a long line of sight that you like. It's one of those where it's just worth checking. You're rarely gonna kill, but if you see anyone, it's definitely worth firing. And it's just perfectly demonstrated a very early kill onto the castle. Most of his utility already plays down, obviously, and it's not the best gun, but it's still a kill. And this just really eases things down here for the side of LDL. Luckily for the side of MG WiT, they managed to find Lunar as well. That's the Ash lost, so at least the man count has been equalized to 4 versus 4. But both sides have now suffered a casualty, and well, both teams have well done so far. But with just still 2 minutes remaining, attackers have loads of time to still do their damage.
Yeah, we think, you know, you think of strong players on this MG WiT side. You think of Lunar and you think of pardon me. You think of Isfan, and you see them falling so early. You see Vasi falling so early to these maybe daft kills that shouldn't be happening. Not in knockout siege, not in competitive, not when you win or you go home. 4-0 it is to LDL, and they're starting to really tighten the screw. They turn the screw in on this MG WiT team, who at the moment they don't really have a response. Their big swings aren't working. They're charging down hallways without even any drones, any cameras, any face checking at all. They're really struggling to make their mark on this round. They'll start retreating back into the site. 4-2 with a minute to go. LDL completely in control.
Yeah, with the 4-2 falling back to sides, which means total stands. At least the defenders managed to find at least one more attacker, which is the Twitch now falling there to the hands of one of them. At the same time, we can see Ishak playing at the mid, being extremely low in HP and getting finished there by Zakuria, leaving Shinji all left standing. The Warden, potentially one of the good operators to have left in this situation with his ability. But at the same time, yes, there is flashbangs remaining. Harvey having 2 of those. It's also one of the last bit of utility remaining by the attackers anyway. So being Shinji as Warden, being one of those perfect attackers to deal with those, he finds the first play. That's the ram being dealt with. Finds almost a second with a shotgun, but then it's Zakuria coming from the other side as he's being surrounded by the attackers. Once again, the attackers winning yet another offensive rounds, putting the score here on 5-0. And so far, MG WiT without any success here on this map. Very unfortunate to see. And well, if they want to have a chance, a 5-1 score is still better than a 6-0, of course. So at least get this round on the boards, so they might hopefully have a chance of success after the roll swap.
This is their pick. This is their map pick. You know, let's not lose sight of that. MG WiT, they chose to bring us to Border. Probably because last time round they faced LDL, they took Border 8-6, you know, in overtime. So not convincingly, but they took it with a round gap. This time around, it's not looking anywhere near that good. They they opted to go defense, and it's a big struggle for them. They're really not doing too well. They're maybe looking to make that back up on the attack. But in ESA so far, this is a defender-sided map. Although I imagine with the rounds that we've taken so far from LDL, with the rounds that they've added to the counter, they may well have flipped that percentage back over to being attacker-sided. Really, really interesting that this is happening. MG they're not necessarily doing things wrong in that opening stage, but it feels like when they drop a frag, when they drop 2 frags, they start to panic, and I feel like maybe the comms, they're not quite as clear as they could be, because you saw there in that last round, the Vigil charging through that hallway, absolutely nothing. Twitch opening up everything as they go. MG not able to protect their utility, everything's destroyed, and LDL, they're going to affect breaches as early as 30 seconds in, uncontested.
Well, that was one of the most valuable Twitch plays that I have ever seen in my life. So much utility found in such a short amount of time, especially given how valuable that Goyo can be, especially on the time waste. So great start here for the offensive side of Team LDL. Was already 5 points ahead of their opponent. So great start for them. And well, of course, it cost him a minute of time to do all this stuff to make this, put himself in this position. Is Lunar already finding the very first opening kill onto Ishak, taking care of the dog, and already claiming themselves a little man advantage of a 5 versus 4.
Twice someone peeks Luna, and twice someone, twice they lose their head. Luna just really doing well, very patient, not re-peeking, not taking gunfights that they don't have to, just calmly waiting and letting MG attack them. We know MG they've been trying to push, big swings coming out from them, they've been getting punished, but Bunkers putting the team on his back saying, we're not losing this, not on my watch, not yet, they'll pick up 2 on their own.
Yeah, Bang is definitely putting his maximum effort here for the team to at least bring things back to an equal man count. Here, a nice little aggressive approach from Vessi onto Zakuria. Unfortunately, doesn't find the second as Ilias then refracts him basically, which brings us to the equal man count of 2 versus 2. Bang is even going further and finding Harvey as well. Finally putting MG with an advantage here, and as he walks, as Ilias walks into the frost mats, he is in a very vulnerable position, gets found, gets finished, and finally, we are seeing a defensive rounds win here from the side of MG. Perhaps a little bit too late, or way too late, even if you ask me. But at least it's a rounds win. It's not a flawless 6-0 haul from LDL. And with this one round, MG has a very difficult task ahead, but at least they stand a bit of a better chance to bring things into a better position.
You've still got to play a damn near perfect game of Siege. And against a team like LDL, that's something that seems, nigh on impossible. The perfect game of Siege. MG they did choose OT attack, so maybe there's something to it. Maybe they're putting a lot of faith in their attacking prowess, but with how they were getting punished with these big swings, and with how Border doesn't necessarily lend itself to these elongated crossfires that we were seeing over on Bank, which made it so competitive. I don't know how they're going to adapt to what LDL are going to do. LDL, it just seems like, they may as well pick Border themselves because they've been so prolific on it in their own attacking round. It's kind of sad to see, it really is, but especially given the Bank was so competitive, that MG have brought us to Border and seemingly not turned up.
Yeah, MG also the last remaining standing team of the MG organization, or Mystic Gaming organization, as they stand for. Yeah, that was a very nice pixel peek, but unfortunately not finding any damage. But as I was saying, like MG being the last standing MG team, like as they once started with 4 teams in this competition, with MG Minions, MG Aspire, MG WiT, MG Cook, after which MG Cook disbanded or at least left their organization. And now we're starting left with 3, but MG Aspire and MG Minions both being eliminated. MG WiT is the one and only left standing team of that organization. And yeah, being 5-1 down, they are up for the ultimate challenge here. The ultimate challenge to prove their worth, to show their value for the organization. And so far they are struggling, but they're definitely still in the race. They definitely still have a chance with this 5-1. They definitely need the opening kills here. And as they do, at least, they get the opening kill. It's Ishan getting their very first opening kill onto Midoriya, securing a nice little 4-5 advantage.
Yeah, first kill. And another one coming through. Zakari almost makes it 3, but then the trade's coming out, and he's...
Oh no.
a little bit overzealous in swinging as they get caught out by the Claymore, and now the Doc's going to make those heals. They're going to bring Azami right back up into the game as they're going to start hemorrhaging players again. MG WiT take another couple of L's, but they're taking the man advantage. Ishan making it a 2v1 scenario. MG WiT, they've stymied the bleed. Now can they start developing some momentum of their own as they're in a 2-1 situation? The frag grenade goes out, uncooked of course since the update, so it doesn't find its target, but it does delay slightly. Vasi putting the plant down as the defense starts stalking. They'll pick up a nice pixel kill. Zakari forcing it into a 1v1. Diffuser's down, 30 seconds on the clock. There's not much time. It seeps away so quickly. The drone going out. Very disciplined from MG WiT, as now they have the flank cam. The comms can be made. The team play right there. They know where LDL are. Zakari having to try and flick a peek out somewhere, but they'll get found as Vasi clutches it out. Post-plant scenario makes it 5-2. Big round.
Yeah, 5-2 feels so much better than a 5-1 score. Yes, it's only a single round of a difference, but a 5-2 just feels so much better. You're only 3 rounds behind on your opponent. Your opponent still needs 1 round to at least secure the map point or series point in this case, or like match point in this case, and 2 rounds to win the map. And that's about the same amount of rounds she needs to almost equalize this map. So a 5-5 score is definitely within reach here for MG WiT, and showing that they can do better, especially since they have gone through a role swap and now are playing on the offense. MG WiT has shown us that there's still hope, there's still a chance. But of course, at the same time, it was only 1 round, and LDL can definitely do better. They know what they might have done wrong, how MG WiT managed to find their weaknesses and managed to benefit from it. And by improving on those, LDL could definitely do better, but at least it's a start for MG WiT, which gives them the boost, gives them the confidence and morale boost that they could use to hopefully bring this map to a closer score.
100%. I mean, as much as any round is a round that you need to win, all of these rounds are must-wins for MG WiT, because 1 round takes them not only to map point, it takes LDL to series point, and it takes MG WiT 1 step closer to their last game in competitive CH. You know, it's do or die for them now. Their last time that they're staying together as a team, as an organization, that remember they're folded. Technically, they've already folded, and they're just playing out the competition. Are they going to go out with a bang or a whimper?
Yeah, that's the big question here, of course. 3 rounds is all needed by MG WiT here to at least equalize this and bring us back to a 5 versus 5, just like we have been at some point on that previous map. First nades already coming out, dealing with those bulletproof shields or deployable shields. Very well done here from MG WiT. Valuable utility taken away here from the defense. First A charge coming out as well, dealing with those reinforced walls, creating new lines of sight and entry points into the office room, which of course is one of those key points and key positions to take further control over the map and into the bomb site eventually. Ishan getting a kill onto the courier as well, which is the first defense losing his life, but the majority immediately fighting back, finding Ishan. Luna with a kill onto Vessi, and suddenly it's defender in the 4 versus 3 advantage.
Yeah, really good attacking site setup. They get the breaches as they need to. They clear the shades out with the frags as they need to. They're doing really well to hit the milestones that will enable them to go ahead and win. Oh my word, no way. The intel game coming out from MG WiT. This hasn't been their strong point so far, but the intel game gets them that kill and evens things up in the round. 3v3.
Yeah, great match, or great map, great round here so far between the 2 teams. The 3 versus 3, a very nice position for either of the 2 teams to be in. Still 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining though, so that's a decent amount of time here for the attackers to still work with, and not really taking in their disadvantage, as they still have a nice opportunity to make a difference. But as Elias finds the kill onto Bankus, who's just crouch walking into the bomb site, the defenders have now gained the man advantage. Midoriya with a kill onto Shinji, and suddenly things are looking very good here for the side of LDL, especially if Midoriya gets this last skill here onto the last remaining player of the side of MG WiT, and suddenly it's LDL getting another point, getting the 6th point here for this potential last map of the evening, and putting themselves on a 6-2 map / series point.
Not only map point though, match point. Not only match point, series point. A win here sends them through to the lower bracket grand final. The loser goes home.
Yeah.
Attackers need to locate and defuse the bomb.
Loser ends in the 4th spot. Winner goes to at least that top 3 and at least secures a portion of that prize pool of a total of 2,000 euros. But of course, more importantly, it secures a ticket to that lower bracket finals, which then eventually could give you a chance to even make your way into the grand finals, which of course is the most important position to be in this competition. But at least securing the top 3, that's a nice little start to go for. And of course, the winner of this match will get that. So that's definitely LDL already feeling it, already almost smelling it. It's written in the grass. We just need at least to get one more round to do so. And they have quite a bit of a buffer here. Like they have 4 rounds to do so. In the upcoming 4 rounds, they need to at least win a single one of them. Like they can afford to lose 3 rounds and still win a single one of them and
Yeah.
still win with, like, let's say in the worst situation, a 7-5 score. But at the same time, this also puts WiT in a very stressful situation, a very pressuring situation. They have one clear mission, which is winning 4 rounds without losing a single to bring this match to overtime and still have a chance to bring us to a third and have a chance to win.
Oh, that's not going to help them at all, is it? Down really early on. The Pokeball goes out for
Oh,
good
no.
measure. It's not, but it's 5-4 already. They can see the swing coming through, though. They know he's holding there. And Mute also goes down. So 4v4 then on a site, which is really all about the vert play. You saw how LDL set up. They're ready to hold that top 4, but they are hemorrhaging members left and right to Ishak, who now makes it 4v3. Still got a person playing up on vertical, so they can still defend ventilation for now. But that isn't going to last forever. Only one person down on that bottom floor as Ishak picks up a triple kill. And now it's all going a little bit Pete Tong for LDL, isn't it?
Yeah, the 6-3 definitely looking possible, especially as Bankers gets another killer onto Midoriya, and suddenly it's all coming out. The Lunar was plating up top. Not the ideal situation to be in, but at least he finds a kill there onto Vessi. However, the position now, of course, is being swarmed by it. He finds another kill to Ishak. Definitely things look pretty clutchable, especially as more attackers are being very aggressive and approaching him. But in the end, luckily, Shinji finds the kill, buys another round here for the side of MG WiT, as they now put themselves on a 6-3 scoreline. But of course, MG WiT still being 3 rounds behind their opponents and still being in the danger zone when they need to win the upcoming 3 rounds to still have a chance once going to overtime.
Do you know what that came down to?
Oh,
MG WiT won their ones. That's all it is. They won their ones. Now you just need to keep doing that. They make it 6-3, but still very much in the danger zone. 6-3 means it's still match point, still series point for LDL, as they can now take us elsewhere. Not the ideal site for defending. They'll take us there again. They'll stay on workshop ventilation and they'll say, do you know what? We lost that round. Let's do it again. Let's do it better. Let's just win our ones. Because LDL, there was nothing wrong with the strategy of how they approached that round. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. What went wrong is their gunfights. They were holding angles where they were kind of visible in one ways, so they couldn't react. And I think 3 of them went down without firing a shot in anger at the person shooting them. So, you know, those unanswered kills are what really started to stack up for MG WiT and allowed them to win the round. You can see there from the overhead view, the vertical play, it's so important. You're essentially holding top site in order to hold bottom site. That vent, if you lose that kind of hold on it, people can just jump in, they can plant, and it's really easy to counter from above. Yeah, horizontally, not so much.
Yeah, but this again, it's a 6-3 situation. Still LDL here being on the map / match point, series point, whatever you want to call it. And as Midoriya gets that first opening kill there onto Isha, that's a huge kill here from the defensive side. That's the gridlock being dealt with. Maybe not the most impactful player per se. It's like it's not a heartbreaker or anything, but it's still a very valuable and annoying operator to deal with as a defender. And without that operator getting a single chance to deploy a single bit of utility, is just a huge win here for the defender, especially even more just a single or a lesser gun to deal with in general. So 5 vs 4, great start here for the side of LDL as they're now finding themselves in the 5 vs 4 within the very first seconds.
Yeah, aggressive opening spawn peak coming out from LDL. They're not content just to sit back and let MG WiT attack them like they did last round. They're going to go out. They're going to try and take the round off them as defense. They're going to push on them. MG WiT starting to acquire territory over on those east stairs, but being fought for every inch by these LDL defenders.
Yeah, but this 5-4 we're still continuing. It's a 1 minute and 40 seconds on the clock, so it's still a decent amount of time here for the attackers to work with. They can easily still find a kill, equalize the man counts, find a second kill to win the man counts, and now they're finding us as a 4 versus 4. So this is definitely a good position still for the attackers to be in. Half of the round still remaining. They're getting very close to at least getting top 4 control. But there's suddenly the C4 from below from Lunar, finding Shinji. Very unfortunate once again. That's the IQ dealt with. No longer any proper chance to find those Valkyrie cameras easily, deal with those with this Legion mines or mute jammers. A lot of kills are coming from Zakuria with the shotgun, both on the Vessi and Bankers. Ishan with the kill, the other Zakuria, and suddenly we're finding ourselves in a 2 versus 1 situation, still in the favor of LDL. Yes, lots of damage that dealt onto the Valkyrie, but also onto Ishak. While Elias is still almost full HP. So this is going to be a very, very close end to the round as we're approaching that last 45 seconds.
No chance for intelligence. All the audio in favour of the defenders here. All the audio calls. They've got eyes on from the first, but they're going to make it a 1v1. Ishak pings it down with the pistol to a 1v1. 30 seconds on the clock. They do have the diffuser in hand. They're giving away a lot of audio calls, and the MG WiT, if they drop, the eyes are on the drop. They'll distract them with the drone. The drop comes through. I think they know that the drop's there. Now it's just who blinks first, who can outflank the other. But they'll go for the plant. They'll go for the plant. Ilias, right there. He'll put a pin, a needle in the dreams of these MG WiT players, and he will send them home.
He just had no idea that the remaining defender was so incredibly close to him, so just right around the corner. And yeah, of course, like I understand him, he went for the plans, but he just didn't know that the player was so close and didn't stand a chance to fight for this last gunfight here. Very unfortunate, but at the same time, LDL playing phenomenal, really showing why they are one of the most what is it, like supported teams, one of the most teams that with the highest expectations of themselves, especially towards the start of the season when a lot of people were rooting for LDL. They've really shown today that even though they went to the lower bracket eventually, that they're still very capable and potentially even deserve a spot into those grand finals against MBJ. But of course, there's still Silent Family standing in the way of that.
Yeah, at a certain point, they were 8 rounds on the trot there, and you don't do that without being, just a little bit good at the game of Siege. Yeah, and so that was really impressive to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Very unfortunate as we say goodbye to MG, where their
Yeah.
last game in the tournament, their potentially last game as a team. We don't know exactly how that's going to go for them moving forwards, but they'll be expelled from the competition now. As we see the bracket, we see your winners LDL. They're going to be sitting there loud and proud in the lower bracket grand final. They'll be going up against Silent Family, who were knocked down by MVG, themselves already sitting pretty in that grand final spot. So next game, that's going to be there, and that is going to be seeing who joins them in the final.
Yeah, it will be pretty big if we indeed get a rematch there between Silent Family and MVG, of course, as they had a match there in the upper bracket grand final. It's still possible, but it really comes down to LDL, how they will do against Silent Family on next Monday. I believe we might have a little bit of a visual as that as well. Otherwise, I'll just walk you through by my words, of course. But next Monday, we have the match, of course, coming up between Silent Family and the winner of today, which is LDL. So, a very big and important match, of course, coming up. Yes, all of those teams that we're talking about, MVG, Silent Family, and LDL, they're all in the top 3. They have secured a bit of their prize money, but of course, all what they want is be in a grand final and to win the grand final, of course. But for LDL and Silent Family, that grand final is not even certain yet. They need to at least play one more match before they reach a grand final, and then they still need to compete against MVG. So, very important match on Monday, where I believe it's you, Delta Baker. Yeah, it's you and Mighty Region who are going to be casting that match on Monday. So that's a very important one and a very lovely one to watch, especially with 2 very good casters. So I'm actually very excited for the match.
I don't know if I'm good, mate, but I
Yeah,
appreciate
definitely.
that. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I mean, having seen both teams over the last couple of days, I saw Silent Family and MVG obviously the other day, and both teams they're going to bring a
Hmm.
lot. Both teams are going to bring the right game because it's a game on which rides such an amount of importance. It books
Yeah.
your place in the grand final. It solidifies your place as a high earner for that
Hmm.
financial incentive for the top teams. But I'm really excited for that one. I think it's going to
Hmm.
be an absolutely spectacular game to watch. That one will go the distance. It's very unfortunate that we didn't see this one on the basis of that first map over on Bank. I was absolutely
Yeah, that
convinced
was so
we were going to
close.
be sat here until midnight your time, mate. I was convinced that we were locked in for the duration. Very unfortunate to MG away. And you know what? I would implore them. I would say to them, do not be disheartened by this. You've gone through a lot of things off the field, and you've came here and you've put across a really strong account of yourselves. On Bank, you took, one of the best teams in the league. Let's not forget LDL. They finished one top
Mm,
of the Swiss stage. You took the best team in the league and you took them the distance.
mm,
You forced them OT on Bank, which is their favorite map. You did incredibly well, and you should
yeah.
definitely take that forwards, whatever all of you do. But we will be saying goodbye to them, and we will be saying congratulations to LDLs. They booked their place in the lower bracket grand final.
Yeah, even though WiT is technically disbanding, I hope that all players eventually find a very nice new team and not nice play haven to play with, because they're
Absolutely.
all very incredible players. They have demonstrated that today perfectly. So I hope that we will still see them, and that not too many of them are eventually retiring, as they sometimes call themselves. But for now, at least, MG WiT has really shown that they're very good as a team, but even also very good as players individually. And I hope that, yeah, like I said, we hope to see them eventually elsewhere. Like I said, for Monday, a very big game coming up, which is LDL, or actually Silent Family versus LDL, as I should say it. But of course, even more importantly, next week, Sunday, at just a little bit before 2 p.m. at Central European time. That's when we're going to be live with the grand final. So make sure to note it in your agenda. It's going to be an extremely important and big show, like usual, like with a nice show with a host, analyst, caster, and whatsoever. It's going to be a very big thing. So make sure to note it in your agenda. I hope to see you all on next week, Sunday as well. But of course, first, Monday at 7:30 CET, as usual, the last lower bracket final before we head into the grand finals. Have a very good evening, Delta. It was a pleasure to guest with you, and I hope to see you all next week.